Hey everybody, how's it going? This is a little bit different. It's tier 5. So the American line was one of the first lines I did when I started, geez, like 6 years ago. Same with KV1 line was also like one of the first. I don't think I had played this M4 tank since, oh geez, 5 years. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and 3 mark it. It's one of my first lines, show it some love. I'd also heard a lot on the subreddit about how toxic tier 5 had become. And before you roll your eyes and say, well, aren't you adding to it? Well, not really. I mean, I'm using the derp gun. To be honest, the Sherman's not the strongest tank. I wanted to see, you know, is it really all 5.4s, etc. And my conclusion is, during seasons when people are grinding, yes, it seemed like there were a lot of Seal Clubber tanks. It's hard to judge because back before my friends and I play, or what I would call skilled, we used to grind out what was effectively earn ops, you know, like the seasons. With some of these tanks, because it was just the most efficient way to do it. Unfortunately now, seeing it, it's the 5.4s were super toxic, and they really don't know how to play. I mean, I'd be able to beat them up in this thing. You know, the 5.4 is overpowered, but the pen is kind of low on the gun, so if you're not shooting premium, you'll bounce off a Sherman, which probably surprises some of you. But anyway, I was like, alright, let's give it a go. I was up at like 84%, I don't know. My first game I 2-marked it, so it definitely had a lower bar than when I was playing it 5 years ago, but you know, however many games it took, I was like, I'll just grind it out. I think before this game I was about 93.1. And, you know, just gonna see how it goes. So, first thing is, man, derp guns are not inaccurate anymore. I mean, pre-6.0, this gun would be shooting all over the place. If you weren't fully aimed in, forget it. You didn't have a prayer. Screw you, Artie. Play a real class. So, the derp, I mean, it shoots fast. It does good damage. The heat, which I did use a little bit on some of the 5.4s, because you could hit them for, you know, 350 or however much damage it is right in their turret. I mean, geez, it's just every 6-ish seconds. We'll see here. Yeah, 6.6 seconds. You get this lobby derp that, you know, I mean, you can do up to 400 damage. 300 damage isn't that uncommon, so it's kind of wild. So 6.0, big buff to derps. Actually, should probably make this tank and the jumbo and KV, you know, 2, all the derp guns easier. You'll see some snapshots I pull off. There's no way I'm doing these before 6.0. So, you know, the thing does have good gun depression. I mean, I almost feel like I don't have to tell you about the Sherman. Everybody probably has gone down this line, but it's kind of the quintessential, you know, American medium, at least the start of it. But because it's tier 5, you don't have a lot of hit points. It's kind of weak. The 3 mark is about 1,000 combined. That, I'm gonna be honest, that really wasn't hard. There's a reason you don't see a lot of players that are good at higher tiers play a lot in the lower tiers unless they're just padding their stats, which, you know, I hope people don't do. One, it really does ruin the experience, right? There are people I face, they just haven't had a lot of rounds. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, it honestly wasn't even fair. But I was picking on 5.4s just because, you know, clubbing the Seal Clubbers, that's actually fun. So, I really just do a big loop around this. I start on the hill, you got good gun depression, and the match is kind of even, so I figure I'll move in. Pretty decent spotting range, considering. That's an example of a shot that pre-6.0 never would have hit. That thing would have lobbed off into space. The St. Emil has no armor, so first I'm going to hit him and track him, but it doesn't break his tracks. It's okay, he stops. This is where it's good. So 400 damage from a, you know, a tier 5 derp. That's where this thing can really shine. I mean, St. Emil has like no armor. So this is great. This never happens. I just bless this person's heart. They're just AFK, I guess. So I'm spotting them. So I'm going to take some direct damage, and then I think somebody shoots him for the kill, and I get quite a bit of assisted damage as well. And that's the thing, that, I mean, 1300 direct alone is pretty good in tier 5, for a tier 5, but to have, you know, as much assisted as I did as well. One, the derp gun's going to track a lot of things. Two, again, you know, with the crew and equipment, this thing has pretty good vision, pretty good view range. It is, you know, only goes about 40. I think I wouldn't necessarily suggest this tank as strongly as I would used to have for newer players, just because it's not the most mobile. 6.0 is a mobility meta. It's, you know, you get a light tank and they're just going to circle around you. This is beautiful. That's a snapshot, but it's Artie, so, you know, the tank gods were on my side, smiting Artie with a lob derp shell. We're pretty much wrapping up. We still have some camping people, you know, on the 7 line, but that's fine. There's only a couple tanks left, and with how much damage I have, I'm not expecting the 3 mark just because I was only around 93%. Knowing that the combined average is 1,000, though, I figured I'd have to do one more round. But obviously I'm showing you this, so I didn't, as you'll see. So this is another example, right? Look how big the reticle is. You know, I don't even wait. It pans. This is just not, it's just not the same derp gun that I played with when I was, you know, a newer player years ago. So if you're down here in the lower tiers, or God forbid you've never grown this line, and the M48 is one of the best tier 10s in my opinion, so it's worth it. If you play this, you could play it with the pop gun. There's nothing wrong with that. The derp is a lot of fun though. So, yeah, so I derped it out. Clubbed the seal clubbers back, and you know, I mean, almost, you know, 1900 XP is a lot of base XP too. So yeah, I went from 93-ish to 95-1, which was great. I was kind of done playing, and if I had to do one more round, so be it. But yeah, it was fun to go back to something back in the day that, I mean, I didn't do this well on it. It was kind of rewarding just to see a tank I spent a lot of battles in that, you know, it does make a difference. So there's those 3 marks. Yeah, go do it. If you haven't 3 marked any of your first loves, it is kind of a fun experience, and go pick on the seal clubbers in their backyard. Later.